The void between stars shimmered as reality itself tore open. One by one, the obsidian black warships of the Zapirian Survey Armada emerged from FTL, their angular hulls bristling with sensor arrays and weapons ports. The lead vessel, Dominion of Truth, dwarfed its escorts, its command spire glowing faintly against the endless dark. High Surveyor Vexis stood on the bridge, his four jointed arms clasped behind his carapace. The holographic display before him painted Sol in cold blue light, a single yellow star, unremarkable by galactic standards. His secondary eyes twitched in amusement as the scans resolved. "Report," Vexis commanded, his voice a dry rasp. Surveyor Crix adjusted his datapad with 3 of his 6 hands. "Primary target confirmed. Third planet matches Federation records. Designation Earth. Initial scans show disappointing defenses." A ripple of clicks and chitters passed through the bridge crew. Vexis leaned forward, studying the flickering images of human orbital platforms rusting metal, outdated reactor signatures, a handful of sluggish patrol ships that wouldn't last 10 seconds against a Zapirian frigate. These are the creatures who repelled the Vorak. Vexis scoffed, mandibles twitching. The reports must have been exaggerated. Crix hesitated. Their history files indicate history is written by survivors, not victors. Vexis interrupted. He gestured dismissively at the screen. "Look at them. No energy shielding. No plasma cannons. Their fastest ships crawl at sublight speeds." A junior technician, barely out of larval stage, dared to speak. "High Surveyor, their planetary defenses show silence." Vexis didn't bother turning. "You think I care about their pitiful ground installations? The Federation trembles at these softskins while they huddle behind steel and gunpowder." The bridge fell quiet on the main display. Earth hung like a blue-green jewel. Its moon, a pale sentinel. The human orbital stations, clumsy constructs of welded metal and fraying cables, drifted lazily in high orbit. One of them, labeled UN Orbital Watchdog, rotated slowly, its solar panels glinting. "Magnify Sector 7, Vexis ordered. The image zoomed. A cluster of human satellites floated near the edge of the scan zone. Primitive things, barely more than metal boxes with antennae. One of them flickered, a power surge perhaps. Crick's hands danced across his console. Energy spike. "They've detected us." Vexis chuckled, a sound like grinding stone. "Let them see. Let them understand what true power looks like." He straightened, his carapace gleaming under the bridge lights. "Hail their pathetic command hub. I'll give them the honor of hearing their doom from my own mandibles." The comms officer worked quickly. A moment later, a grainy video feed resolved on screen. A human male, middle-aged, with close cropped hair and a faded blue uniform, stared back at them. His eyes widened slightly at the sight of Vexis, but his voice remained steady. "Unidentified vessels, this is Commander Eli Vance of the United Earth Orbital Defense Network. You are in restricted space. Identify yourselves." Vexis leaned closer, savoring the moment. "I am High Surveyor Vexis of the Zapirian Dominion. You stand at the threshold of history, human. Your species has been weighed by the Federation and found wanting." Vance didn't flinch. "Is that so? Your defenses are a joke. Your technology is obsolete." Vexis spread his arms. "The Vorak must have been weaker than we thought if you drove them back." A flicker of something passed over Vance's face. Not fear, but something darker, amusement. "You're here to survey us, then?" "To catalogue, to assess." Vex's voice dropped to a whisper. "To determine if your species deserves to exist." Silence. Then Vance did something unexpected. He smiled. "Well, Surveyor, I hope you brought a big notepad." The feed cut out. Vexis stiffened. "What just?" Alarms blared. Crick's hands flew over his console. "High Surveyor," multiple energy spikes across the system. "Reading," his voice cracked. "Reading thousands of signatures." The bridge screens flickered. Earth's orbital platforms powered down in unison. their lights winking out like snuffed candles. The moon's surface shimmered, cloaking fields disengaging. And beyond Pluto, in the frozen dark where no human ship should have been able to hide, something moved. Vexis' mandibles went slack. The stars themselves seemed to blink. Then the real human fleet decloaked. The dominion of truth hung in the void like a black dagger, its sensor arrays pulsing with cold blue light. High Surveyor Vexis watched the holographic feed from his command throne, his chitinous fingers tapping impatiently against the armrest. Below him, the planet Earth spun lazily, its blue oceans and green continents deceptively peaceful. "Report," Vexis snapped. A junior surveyor bowed, his antennae twitching nervously. "Initial scans complete. High Surveyor, orbital defenses are underwhelming. Primitive kinetic platforms, outdated laser batteries. Their energy signatures suggest fusion reactors, barely sufficient for a colony world, let alone a home system." Vexis let out a low clicking laugh. "And this is the species that repelled the Vorak, pathetic." He leaned forward, his compound eyes reflecting the dim glow of the hologram. "Order the occupation fleet to deploy. Let us see how these humans react when their precious cradle is under our boots." Across the bridge, the Zapirian crew moved with practiced efficiency. The massive hangar bays of the Dominion yawned open, disgorging dozens of troop carriers. The sleek, needle-shaped shuttles streaked toward Earth, their engines flaring crimson against the black. On the surface of Saturn's rings, hidden amidst the ice and dust, the USN Shadowblade lay silent. Captain Ryan Blake watched the Zapirian movements through his tactical display, his fingers hovering over the comms panel. His ship was a ghost, cloaked, undetectable, its presence masked by the natural radiation of the rings. "Admiral Hayes," Blake murmured into his headset. "They're taking the bait." A crackling voice responded. "Hold position, Captain. Let them commit." Blake nodded, though he knew she couldn't see it. Around him, his bridge crew sat frozen, their eyes locked on the screens. Every breath was measured, every movement deliberate. The Zapirians had no idea they were being watched down on Earth. The first wave of shuttles touched down in what should have been bustling metropolises, but the streets were empty. The skyscrapers stood silent. No panicked crowds, no military resistance, just wind whistling through abandoned avenues. Surveyor Krelix stepped off his shuttle, his mandibles twitching in confusion. His squad fanned out, their plasma rifles raised, scanning for threats. "Where is everyone?" he muttered. His second in command, a burly warrior named Tarvix, kicked open the door of a nearby building. Dust billowed out. Inside, the walls were lined with hollow shells of machinery, facades, nothing more. "High Surveyor," Krelix called over the comms. "The cities, they're fake." Vexis' voice crackled back, sharp with disbelief. "Explain." Krelix gestured to his squad, and they began tearing open walls, smashing consoles. Every structure they breached revealed the same truth: empty frames, dummy wiring, mock-up facades. "It's a decoy, sir, the entire planet. It's a stage set." A long silence followed. Then, Vex's voice returned, colder than the void. "Fall back. Now." But it was too late. Above Earth, the orbital platforms that had seemed so weak suddenly flared to life. Their outdated laser batteries pivoted with terrifying precision, locking onto the retreating shuttles. Beams of coherent light glanced out, slicing through hulls like paper. On the Dominion of Truth, alarms blared. "High Surveyor," the sensor officer shrieked. "Energy spike from the planet's surface. Those weren't fusion signatures. They're masking something." Vexis whirled, his exoskeleton flushing dark with rage. "Evasive maneuvers. Get us out of." The Shadowblade chose that moment to strike. From Saturn's rings, a single torpedo streaked across the void, its stealth coating rendering it invisible to Zapirian sensors. It slammed into the Dominion's primary sensor array, blinding the massive ship. Blake's voice cut through the chaos as he opened a channel to the Zapirians. "You should have scanned deeper." Vexis stared at the view screen, his mandibles trembling. For the first time in his long, proud career, he felt the icy grip of fear. The trap had been sprung. The Dominion of Truth hung in the void, its obsidian hull glinting in the distant sunlight. High Surveyor Vexis leaned over the command dais, his four-fingered hands resting on the polished surface. The holographic display showed Earth's orbital platforms, silent, powerless. A smirk curled his lipless mouth. "Begin occupation protocols," he ordered. "Deploy the pacification shuttles. Let the humans learn their place." His second in command, Zoroth, hesitated. "Something feels wrong, High Surveyor. Their defenses are too weak. Even primitive species put up more resistance." Vexis waved a dismissive hand. "They are humans, Zoroth, soft, slow, and predictable. The Vorak were fools to fear them." The first wave of shuttles detached from the belly of the Dominion, streaking toward Earth's surface. Vexis watched their progress on the display, his mandibles twitching in satisfaction. Then, a flicker, a distortion in the void near Saturn's rings. Zoroth stiffened. "High Surveyor, we have an anomaly." The USN Shadowblade decloaked without warning, its sleek, angular hull shimmering into visibility. Captain Ryan Blake's voice crackled over an open channel, calm and deadly. "Zapirian vessel, you are in violation of sovereign human space. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." Vexis barked a laugh. "One ship? You think one ship can challenge us?" Blake didn't respond. Instead, space rippled. From the darkness of the Oort cloud, from behind Jupiter's storms, from the shadow of Neptune's moons, human warships emerged. Hundreds, then thousands. The USN Defiance, its railgun batteries humming with lethal charge. The USN Thunderchild, its missile bays open and primed. And at the heart of the formation, the dreadnought USN Titan's Wrath, its massive spinal cannon glowing with barely contained energy. Vexis' breath caught in his throat. His claws dug into the command daisy. "Impossible. Our scans showed nothing." A new voice cut through the chaos. Admiral Lisa Hayes, her image appearing on every Zapirian screen. Her face was calm, her eyes cold. "You scanned a decoy," she said. "Welcome to the real war." The Titan's Wrath fired first. The spinal cannon's beam lanced across the void, striking the Dominion of Truth's forward shields. They buckled instantly, the energy dissipating in a shower of sparks. Vexis staggered as the deck trembled beneath him. "Evasive maneuvers," he screamed. Too late. Human fighters, sleek and agile, swarmed like hornets. They danced between the Zapirian point, defense turrets, their railguns spitting tungsten slugs at relativistic speeds. A wing of interceptors spiraled past the Dominion's flank, their payloads detonating against its engine array. Zoroth's voice was frantic. Shields at Fey%. Hull breaches on decks 7 through 12. Vexis whirled to the sensor officer. "Where did they come from? How did we not see them?" The officer's frills flushed pale with fear. "Their stealth technology, it's beyond anything in the Federation database." They were hiding. On the view screen, the human fleet advanced in perfect formation. The Defiance unleashed a volley of missiles, each one weaving through the Zapirian counterfire with eerie precision. The Thunderchild's railguns fired in staggered bursts, their projectiles punching clean through alien armor. Vexis' mind raced. This wasn't a battle, it was a slaughter. "Open a channel to the human admiral," he demanded. Hayes' face reappeared, her expression unreadable. "You have one chance to surrender," she said. "Drop your shields and prepare to be boarded." Vexis' pride warred with survival. His mandibles clenched. "You deceived us. This is not honorable warfare." Hayes tilted her head. "Honor doesn't win wars. High Surveyor strategy does." The Titan's Wrath spinal cannon glowed again. Vexis swallowed hard. "Lower the shields," he whispered. Zoroth gaped at him. "High Surveyor, do it." The Dominion of Truth's shields flickered and died. Across the fleet, the remaining Zapirian ships followed suit, their weapons powering down. Hayes nodded, wise choice. But as the human boarding parties launched, Vexis couldn't shake the gnawing dread in his gut. This wasn't just a defeat, it was a message, and the entire galaxy was about to hear it. The first railgun rounds struck before the Zapirians could raise their shields. Vexis stumbled as the Dominion of Truth shuddered under the impact. Alarms wailed through the command deck, the air thick with the acrid scent of burning circuits. "Report," she shrieked, her mandibles clicking in fury. A junior surveyor scrambled to interpret the data. "Hi, Surveyor. Multiple contacts." There, the view screen flickered to life, displaying the horror unfolding outside. Thousands of human warships materialized from the void, their sleek hulls bristling with weapons. The USN Defiance led the charge, its railgun batteries glowing red, hot as they cycled for another volley, flanking it. The USN Thunderchild unleashed a swarm of fighters, their engines flaring like angry stars. And then there was the USN Titan's Wrath. The dreadnought dwarfed even the Dominion of Truth, its armored prow carved into the snarling visage of some ancient Earth warrior. Its main cannon, a spinal, mounted monstrosity, hummed with barely contained energy. Vexis's blood ran cold. Full retreat. Signal the Armada to. Another impact rocked the ship. This time, the deck plating buckled beneath her feet. "Shields at Faye," an officer cried. "They're targeting our engines." On the screen, the human fighters moved like a swarm of insects, dodging point, defense fire with impossible agility. Their railguns punched through Zapirian hulls with contemptuous ease, turning proud warships into drifting tombs. "Return fire," Vexis ordered. The Dominion's plasma lances lashed out, but the human ships were already gone, vanishing into evasive maneuvers no Zapirian pilot could match. A new voice crackled over the comms, Admiral Lisa Hayes, her tone ice, cold. "Zapirian vessel Dominion of Truth, you have violated sovereign human space. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." Vexis snarled. "You dare command me? You're nothing but..." The Titan's Wrath fired. The dreadnought's main cannon discharged with a soundless fury, a beam of pure annihilation slicing through the void. It struck the Dominion's starboard flank, shearing through armor like paper. Klaxons wailed as atmosphere vented into space. "Reactor breach," someone screamed. "Containment failing." Vexis staggered, her carapace rattling as the ship listed violently. The view screen flickered again, showing the Defiance moving in for the kill, its railguns locking onto the Dominion's bridge. "Hi, Surveyor," the junior surveyor gasped. "The eternal insight, it is gone. The humans just..." Another explosion cut him off. The eternal insight, the pride of the Survey Armada, vanished in a fireball as the Thunderchild's torpedoes found its weak point. Vexis clutched the command console, her mind racing. This wasn't supposed to happen. Humans were weak, their technology was primitive. Yet here they were, dismantling her fleet with terrifying precision. "Open a channel," she barked. "All ships fall back to rally point Gamma. Do not..." The Defiance fired. 3 hypervelocity rounds punched through the Dominion's remaining shields, obliterating its engines in a single salvo. The ship lurched, its artificial gravity failing. Vexis floated off the deck, her limbs flailing in panic. On the view screen, Admiral Hayes appeared again, her face unreadable. "Last chance. High Surveyor, surrender." Vexis' mandibles trembled, pride warred with survival. Then the Titan's Wrath's secondary batteries powered up, their targeting locks painting the Dominion's hull. "We surrender," Vexis whispered. Hayes nodded. Wise choice. But as the human boarding pods launched, Vexis couldn't shake the chilling realization. This wasn't a battle. It was a slaughter, and the galaxy would never see humanity the same way again. The Zapirian fleet buckled under the relentless assault. Vexis gripped the command console as the Dominion of Truth shuddered from another railgun impact. Warning glyphs flashed across the holographic display. Shield integrity at Fey reactor, fluctuations spiking. All ships, fall back to rally point Sigma. Vexis's voice cracked through the comms. Activate emergency, FTL. Across the battlefield, the obsidian black survey ships turned, their engines flaring as they prepared to jump. But the human response was instantaneous. Interdictors online, Captain Ryan Blake reported from the Shadowblade. His fingers danced across the tactical display. Gravity wells active in sectors Fey through Fey. They're not going anywhere. A chorus of alarms erupted on the Dominion's bridge as the FTL drive sputtered and died. Vexis's mandibles twitched in disbelief. What is this? Why can't we jump? His sensor officer, a younger Zapirian with trembling appendages, turned. Hi, Surveyor. They've locked us down. Some kind of gravity distortion field. Our drives can't compensate. Outside, the human fleet moved like a predator closing in. The USN Thunderchild unleashed a volley of torpedoes, each one streaking toward a crippled Zapirian vessel. Explosions bloomed in the void, silent but deadly. Vexis watched as the echo of Supremacy, one of their largest cruisers, split apart under concentrated fire. This can't be happening, he muttered. We outnumbered them. We outgunned them. Admiral Lisa Hayes's face appeared on the main view screen, her expression cold. You came to survey us, Zapirian, to judge whether we were worth your notice. Now you see the truth. Vexis slammed a fist against the console. You deceived us. That Earth, those defenses, it was all a lie. Hayes smirked. A decoy, one of many. You scanned what we wanted you to see. The Dominion shook violently as another railgun round punched through its failing shields. The lights flickered, and the deck tilted. Crew members scrambled to brace themselves. Hi, Surveyor, the engineer cried. The reactor, we can't stabilize it, breach imminent. Vexis's mind raced. There was only one option left. He opened a fleet. Wide channel, his voice strained. Human fleet. This is High Surveyor Vexis of the Zapirian Survey Armada. We surrender. Cease fire. The bridge fell silent. Every Zapirian stared at him, their carapaces dull with shock. Surrender was unthinkable. Hayes leaned forward, her gaze piercing. You don't get to surrender. Not after you crossed into our space with guns primed. Not after you called us weak. Vexis's throat tightened. What do you want? Nothing from you, Hayes said. But your Federation will hear about this. They'll see what happens when they underestimate humanity. The comms crackled as another voice cut in. Captain Blake from the Shadowblade. Admiral, multiple Zapirian ships are attempting to overload their cores. They're going to scuttle. Hayes didn't flinch. Let them. Vexis's blood ran cold. You would let us die. You made your choice, Hayes said. You should have scanned deeper. The transmission cut on the Dominion's bridge. The reactor alarms reached a fever pitch. The engineer's voice was barely audible over the din. 30 seconds to critical failure. Vexis closed his eyes. The shame burned worse than the coming fire. Outside, the human fleet pulled back, their ships forming a perimeter. They didn't fire again. They didn't need to. The Dominion of Truth erupted in a blinding flash, its shattered hull scattering into the void. One by one, the remaining Zapirian ships followed, their cores detonating in desperate bids to deny the humans their victory. But the humans didn't care. They had already won. Admiral Hayes watched the last explosion fade from the Titan's Wrath's bridge. Send the footage to the Federation, she ordered. Every second of it. Her comm officer nodded. And the message. Hayes smiled. Just the footage. They'll understand. Across the galaxy, the Zapirian High Command received the data packet. They watched in silence as their mighty survey fleet was torn apart. One of the commanders finally spoke, his voice hollow. We were wrong about them. Another nodded, his mandibles trembling. Earth was never the prize. We were. The humans had set the trap, and the galaxy had stepped right into it. The wreckage of the Dominion of Truth tumbled through space, its once proud obsidian hull now a shattered carcass. Twisted metal and scorched sensor arrays drifted in lazy arcs, catching the pale light of Jupiter's storms. The battle had lasted less than an hour on the bridge of the USN Titan's Wrath. Admiral Lisa Hayes watched the aftermath unfold on the holographic display. Her fingers traced the edge of the tactical table, the glow casting sharp shadows across her face. "Status report," she said. Her voice calm. Captain Ryan Blake, still linked in from the Shadow Blade, appeared on the comms. His image flickered slightly, the signal clearing as his stealth cruiser emerged from Saturn's rings. "Zapirian fleet is in full retreat. What's left of it? Their remaining ships are trapped in system gravity wells holding steady." Hayes nodded. "Good. Let them sweat a little." Across the galaxy, the first signals of the battle were already reaching the Federation's core worlds. High Counselor Vrel of the Ceralian Concord stood frozen in the Grand Assembly Chamber. His floating orbs dilated in shock as the footage played. The humans hadn't just won. They had annihilated the Zapirian Armada without losing a single capital ship. "This cannot be real," Vrel murmured. Beside him, a Vorak ambassador, scarred from past conflicts with humanity, let out a low, rattling hiss. "I warned you," it said, its voice like grinding stone. "You thought Earth was weak because they let you see weakness. That was their gift to you." Back in Sol, the Titan's Wrath moved into position near the wreckage of the Dominion of Truth. Hayes opened a channel to the surviving Zapirian vessels. "This is Admiral Hayes of the United Earth Stellar Navy. You have two choices: surrender unconditionally or be erased. Decide now." Static crackled before a strained voice responded. High Surveyor Vexis, his mandibles twitching uncontrollably, appeared on screen. His once pristine carapace was cracked, oozing green ichor from a head wound. You deceived us." Hayes leaned forward. "We showed you exactly what you wanted to see. You scanned a graveyard of old satellites and empty cities. You never looked beyond the bait." Vex's compound eyes flickered toward the wreckage of his flagship. "The Federation will hear of this." "They already have," Hayes said. She tapped a command, and the hologram shifted to show the Grand Assembly Chamber in real time. Dozens of species representatives stood in stunned silence watching the battle's aftermath. "Say hello, Vexis. You'll live to the entire galaxy." The Zapirian's limbs went rigid. On the Shadow Blade, Blake smirked. "That's one way to send a message." Hayes turned back to the tactical display. "Prep the interdictors. We're not letting a single Zapirian ship leave this system until the Federation responds." A junior officer hesitated. "Admiral, what if they don't respond the way we want?" Hayes didn't blink. "Then we show them what happens when they underestimate us twice." The footage spread like wildfire. Every species in the Federation saw it. The decoy Earth, the hidden fleet, the brutal efficiency of human railguns. On the mining colonies of Proxima, workers cheered. On the trade hubs of Sirius, merchants recalculated their dealings with human corporations. And in the halls of power, the calculus of the galaxy shifted. High Counselor Vrel finally found his voice. "Call an emergency session," he ordered. "We need to apologize." The Vorak ambassador interrupted. "Beg, too late for that." It turned its massive head toward the screen where Hayes' face now dominated the feed. "Humans don't forget, and they don't forgive." Vrel's orbs dimmed. "What do we do?" The Vorak let out another hiss, this one almost like laughter. "Pray they're feeling generous." On the Titan's Wrath, Hayes received the first ping from the Federation, a priority communique flagged with the highest clearance. She opened it, skimmed the contents, and allowed herself a small, cold smile. Blake's voice crackled over the comm. "Well," Hayes turned the screen toward the pickup. The message was brief, its meaning undeniable. The Galactic Federation formally requests the presence of human representatives to discuss mutual cooperation, No demands, no conditions, just a plea. Hayes closed the channel. "Tell the diplomats to pack their bags," she said. "We're going to the core worlds," Blake whistled. "As petitioners." Hayes shook her head. "As equals." Outside, the wreckage of the Dominion of Truth continued its slow dance toward Jupiter's embrace, a monument to arrogance. A warning to the galaxy, Earth had been the bait. Now, the galaxy would learn what it meant to be the catch. The Federation Council chambers fell silent as the massive doors slid open. The circular room, usually buzzing with the chatter of 100 species, now held its breath. Human diplomats strode forward, their black and silver uniforms crisp against the swirling nebula projected on the domed ceiling. Admiral Lisa Hayes led the delegation, her boots clicking against the polished floor. Behind her, Captain Ryan Blake carried a datapad, its contents already known to every species in the galaxy. The footage of Sol's defense played on loop above the central hollow displayed the Zapirian Dominion of Truth breaking apart, their fleet burning in the dark. High Chancellor Vexis, a towering reptilian from the core worlds, rose from his seat. His scales rippled uneasily. "Admiral Hayes," he said, voice strained. "The Federation has reassessed its position." Lisa didn't smile. She didn't need to. "Reassessed," she repeated. The word hung in the air like a blade. A murmur ran through the assembled delegates. The Ceruleans shifted their floating orbs nervously. The Vespidians' exoskeletons dulled to a defensive grey. Even the Octavians, with their 8 limbs usually so graceful, fidgeted with their data tendrils. Blake stepped forward, tapping his pad. The display shifted, showing Earth's real defense grid, orbital platforms armed with singularity projectors, shipyards hidden in Neptune's storms, the USN Titan's wrath hovering over Mars, its railguns humming at full charge. "You scanned a facade," Blake said. "A gift-wrapped lie." Vorlik's tail twitched. "We had no idea." "You didn't look," Lisa interrupted. "That's the problem." A hologram flickered to life beside them. Vexis, the Zapirian High Surveyor. His mandibles were cracked, his carapace scorched. The transmission was shaky, clearly sent from a damaged escape pod. "They let us think we'd won," he rasped. "They wanted us to land." The chamber erupted. Arguments in a dozen languages filled the air. The humans waited. Finally, Vorlik's raised a clawed hand. Silence fell again. "What do you want?" he asked, defeat heavy in his voice. Lisa glanced at Blake. He nodded, then tapped his pad once more. The display changed, showing the galaxy. Human colonies lit up in blue, Federation worlds in gold, the border between them, once so clear, now blurred. "A seat," Lisa said. "Not as petitioners, not as inferiors." She met Vorlik's gaze. "As equals." The Chancellor hesitated. His advisors leaned in, whispering urgently. The Ceruleans pulsed with anxious light. The Vespidians, clicking, grew frantic. Then, slowly, Vorlik's extended his claw. Lisa shook it. The chamber exploded into noise again, but this time it was different. Not fear, not anger. Something closer to relief. As the humans turned to leave, Blake caught a snippet of conversation between 2 Octavian delegates. "They played the long game," one murmured. The other adjusted its data tendrils, watching Lisa's retreating back. "No," it replied. "They invented it." Outside, the USN Titan's wrath waited in high orbit, its guns still warm. The Federation's own defense fleet hovered nearby, keeping their distance. Lisa boarded her shuttle without looking back. Blake followed, his pad still glowing. "They'll comply," he said. "For now." Lisa buckled in as the engines roared to life. "For now," she agreed. The shuttle lifted off, leaving the glittering capital behind below them. The Federation scrambled to adjust new treaties, new borders, a new order, and at the center of it all, humanity, not as victims, not as underdogs, as the power they'd always been. Blake leaned back, watching the stars streak past. "Think they'll try again." Lisa didn't answer right away. She just smiled. Earth was the bait. The galaxy was the catch.